Say the name Sada Abe to any old man in Japan, and his hands will automatically move to protect his groin. Sada's crime, committed 90 years ago, was and continues to be the most notorious crime in Japanese history. Her actions turned Japanese society on its head. In the realm of the census, a 1976 movie based on the crime was so controversial that the full version has never been seen in Japan. Hello strangers and strangelings, welcome back to the Strange Bar and Grill. I'm serving up another true crime story time. Right now I'm just drinking on some whiskey, and again, not saying the brand because I'm not getting paid to promote, so it's just generic whiskey to you. And plus it puts me right where I need to be. So pull up a chair if you like strange true crime and storytelling, then this is the place to be, here with me, JP. So kick back, grab a drink or a snack, and remember to always tip that like button because it helps with the channel. Join that SBG family by subscribing and hitting that notification bell to make sure you're getting notified when I release a weekly video. And remember, I've been drinking, but I ain't been driving. All right, let's go. Sada Abe was born in 1905 into a prosperous but troubled family in Tokyo. Ignored by her father, spoiled by her mother, and overshadowed by her promiscuous older brother and sister, Sada grew up without parental guidance. At the age of 15, she was assaulted by the older brother of a friend. In the deeply sexist Japan world of the 1920s, rape was rarely punished. Because of this, Sada believed that she would never receive a respectable marriage proposal, and she became more rebellious. She came and went at all hours of the day. A typical day for Sada was breakfast in bed, followed by lounging in the entertainment district's fashionable restaurants. Her interests were fashion, flirting, and partying with friends, like most young people, right? Financed by money stolen from her parents. Had Sada been born 70 years later in California, she would have been a valley girl or an influencer. In 1922, when she was 17, her parents sold her to a geisha house. And this was because she was so promiscuous. Because that makes sense, right? You like having sex, so here, go have some sex. It's like getting caught smoking and your parents make you smoke a whole carton of cigarettes or something. It's like, what? As punishment for having so much sex, we're gonna make you have a lot of sex. That makes sense, right? Sada had neither the training nor the inclination to be a submissive geisha, entertaining men by playing the lute. She was put into the bottom caste of geishas, women whose entertainment was more orgasmic. After contracting syphilis, Abe became a licensed prostitute. Prostitution paid well until she was accused of stealing from the other girls, and she drifted from brothel to brothel. In 1934, Sada was arrested for unlicensed prostitution. She was bailed out by Kinosuke Kasahara, a wealthy customer of a brothel where Abe had worked. Sada became Kasahara's mistress. He paid her a steady income and gave her a house, but she became too much for him. According to Kasahara, she was really strong, a real powerful one. Even though I'm pretty jaded, she was enough to astound me, he recalled. She just wasn't satisfied unless we did it 3-4 times a night. I loved it at first, but eventually she became exhausting. This dude is complaining about too much sex. And according to Kasahara's friends, Sada broke off the relationship when he refused to let her take other lovers. In 1936, Sada started working for Kashizo Ishidate, a restaurant owner and a notorious womanizer. He soon became both the love of Sada's life and her victim. On April 23rd, 1936, Abe and Ishida met for what was supposed to be a short fling at a tea house/hotel. It turned into a marathon session in which they stayed in bed for 4 days. Jesus! During the next 10 days, they continued their alcohol-fueled orgy at 2 other places, sometimes with musical accompaniment. Abe later said, "It's hard to say exactly what was so good about Ishida, but it was impossible to say anything bad about his looks, his attitude, his skill as a lover, the way he expressed his feelings. I had never met such a man." When Ishida returned to his wife on May 8th, Abe became ferociously jealous and began drinking heavily. On May 11th, when they met again, Abe threatened Ishida with a kitchen knife and said she would make sure he would never play around with another woman. Ishida smiled. "All right, Ishida, quit playing. These women ain't playing." 2 nights later, Abe began choking Ishida and he told her to continue, saying that this erotic asphyxiation increased his pleasure. On May 16th, Abe choked Ishida with her obi, which is like a sash on a kimono for 2 hours during sex. Once she stopped, Ishida took a large dose of sedatives to soothe his pain. God damn, could you imagine having to take pain pills and sedatives after you have sex? As he lapsed into unconsciousness, Ishida said, "If you start to strangle me, don't stop, because it's so painful afterwards." While he slept, Abe wrapped her sash twice around his neck and strangled him to death. She later told police that after she strangled Ishida, a heavy burden had been lifted from her shoulders, and she felt a sense of clarity. After holding on to his body for 2 hours, she used her knife to cut off Ishida's penis and testicles and put them inside her obi. God damn. She then planned her suicide. Sada said, "I decided that I would flee to Osaka, staying with Ishida's penis all the while. In the end, I would jump from a cliff on Mount Ikoma while holding onto his penis." That's not funny, but this reminds me of the Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln was a good old man. He jumped out the window with his meat in his hand. That reminds me when I hear her jumping off a bridge holding someone's junk. Abe carved the words Sada in Ishida's thigh and left. The Tokyo paper's headline read, "Former geisha girl's crime makes thrilling news for empire." When police discovered Ishida's body, they were galvanized into action. Exactly what Sada had done was far too graphic for the media of the day, so they reported only that she had mutilated the body. The public soon learned the real story. Sada Abe panic swept the country. A false Sada Abe sighting in Tokyo's Ginza district nearly caused a riot. On May 19th, Abe went shopping and saw a movie. And under a pseudonym, she stayed at an inn in Shinagawa on May 20th, where she had a massage and drank 3 bottles of beer. She spent the day writing farewell letters to Omiya, a friend, and Ishida, the person she just killed. Sada Abe planned to commit suicide 1 week after the murder and attempted sex with Ishida's penile remains. Think about that shit. Police detectives suspicious of the alias under which Abe had registered came to her room. "Don't be so formal," she told them. "You're looking for Sada Abe, right? Well, that's me. I am Sada Abe." When the police were not convinced, she displayed Ishida's genitals as proof. It's difficult to overstate just how much Sada's actions challenge Japan's society. You would expect that a person who committed such a murder would be an angry psychopath, looking threatening at the camera, surrounded by grim-faced police. But photographs of Sada Abe in police custody shows her smiling, surrounded by 4 grinning police officers. This could be like a photo of a beauty contest winner surrounded by contest officials or something, or a housewife receiving an award from the Tokyo beautification department. The police were amazed by how different Sada was from their expectations. The interrogating officer was struck by Abe's demeanor when asked why she had killed Ishida. Immediately, she became excited and her eyes sparkled in a strange way. Her answer was, "I loved him so much, I wanted him all to myself, but since we were not husband and wife, as long as he lived, he could be embraced by other women. I knew that if I killed him, no other women could ever touch him again, so I killed him." So Abe's crime was committed not out of vengeance, but out of love, I guess. Chief Trial Judge Hosoya quietly made sure that none of the judge's wives would be menstruating during the trial. Why? Because apparently it was taboo for men to have sexual relations with his wife during her period. Judge Hosoya thought if the trial sexually stimulated the judges during their wives' periods, they would be without the proper means of relieving their excitement. So much wrong in that statement. I'm not gonna even break that down, but yeah. That's weird. Ishida's penis and testicles were confiscated from Sada and given to Tokyo University Medical School's Pathology Museum, where they were put on public display. And in 1946, Ishida's penis and testicles disappeared from the museum. At the trial, Sada pled guilty. She was given a sentence of 6 years and was released in 1941. But to her increasing sorrow, she had not been forgotten. After the war, many popular writers used her as a character in their stories. When best-selling writer Kimura Ichiro wrote a novel about her, Sada sued him for libel and then wrote her own version of her crime. Her attempts to control her story had failed. Sada saw her relationship with Ishida as a love story. Others saw it as a cautionary tale of lunacy. Still, others saw her both as a figure of resistance to the patriarchy and a victim of it. From 1952 to 1969, Abe lived as a waitress and hostess in a working-class neighborhood restaurant. In a case of performance art copying real life, she would always make a grand entrance in this restaurant. She would slowly descend down this long staircase that led into the middle of a crowd and would just gaze at individuals in the audience. The men in the pub would respond by putting their hands over their crotches and shouting out things like, "Hide the knives, I'm afraid to go pee." And Abe would slap the banister and stare the crowd into an uncomfortable and complete silence, and only then continue her entrance, chatting and pouring drinks from table to table. She was like this local celebrity. It was pretty bizarre, pretty strange. There have been many spectacular crimes in the past 1,000 years of Japanese history: assassinations, serial killings, and even massacres. But with at least 6 movies and 12 books based on her story, Sada Abe's crime remains the most sensational of them all. Alright guys, that's gonna be it for today. If you like that story, then leave a comment, leave a like, and if you're new to my channel, then maybe consider subscribing and joining that SBG fam and checking out some more videos. But remember, I've been drinking, but I ain't been driving. And until next time, be safe, be good,